I woke up the morning after my first ultramarathon and sat in silence for a few minutes. My dog snored beside me, and after a deep sigh, I lowered myself out of bed, slipped on my headlamp, opened the door of the van, and slowly walked to the outhouse. I forced myself to cook breakfast and make tea in the cold, and I sat in silence. And I felt lonely. After months of training alone in a great race, talking to fellow runners around me the whole time, my friends headed home for an early work shift the next day. And I sat, 12 hours later, alone. And instead of feeling content or proud, I just wished there was someone there to make me coffee, to listen to me groan about how achy my hips were, to look at me and say, "You ran 50 miles yesterday. I'm making you a special breakfast." And I know my friends wish they could have stayed. They told me so. But it's also just reality that sometimes, even when people we love want to be there for us, life gets in the way. There's a scene I recently rewatched in the show How I Met Your Mother. Ted and Barney are sitting at their booth at McLaren's debating whether or not to go to Robots versus Wrestlers. And at the end of the episode, Barney says, "That was 5 years ago, and the rest of this never happened." Marshall and Lily are upstairs trying to get Marvin to go back to sleep. Robin and I are trying to decide on a caterer. You've been sitting here all night looking at a single ticket to Robots vs. Wrestlers because the rest of us couldn't come out. Look around, Ted. You're all alone. And I started to cry. I first watched this show with my mom when it aired on TV. I was 8 or 9, and we sat down and watched it on Monday nights with the rest of the sitcoms of the early 2000s. She called it her funny, funny ha-has. I'm 27 now. Almost 28. I've had a small string of dramatic failed relationships, and sitting at 27, I'm watching the friends I love find their life partners, buy their first houses, have their first child, and I sit here alone. Pretty happily alone most days, but also a little lonely some others. I'm coming to terms with the belief that true, healthy, honest love isn't guaranteed by existing. Everywhere I turn, I feel like I hear the phrase, "The love you deserve is out there," and a whole lot of "stop looking, start manifesting, you have to be happy, single, but you can't be too happy because then no one will want you, but you can't want to be wanted. You will find what you're looking for." But a lot of people go their whole lives without finding it. A lot of it comes down to luck. And at 27, I'm not going to pretend there's a 0% chance I fall in love again. But regardless, I'm trying to accept that there is a chance I'll be left sitting on a mountain peak alone. As Ted says in a later episode, every day I believe a little less. My friends and I talk about the importance of platonic love, of joy and necessity to prioritize friendships regardless of romantic relationships. I have faith in my friendships that I won't be forgotten or left behind, but it's a simple fact. There's less time for everyone when there's partners and children in the equation. Just more sharing and planning to create quality time together. Still beautiful, still fulfilling, still connective, but a little bit more complex. I stand by the fact that being alone has been way happier, healthier, and easier than being in my past relationships. I love being alone. I love devoting my time to my friends, my passions. I'm so grateful for the time I get to myself, to focus on growth and healing and figuring out who I am. I wouldn't trade this period of my life for anyone, but both can be true. I can celebrate the joy I found in my own company while I mourn the fact that I might never experience someone truly loving me. I might never have a child or a family, that in a few years, my friends might be busy making their houses a home or putting their babies to sleep, and I might be sitting here at the table we used to share with no one who's free to share it with me. And logically, I know this feeling has more to do with the busyness of this time of year. I'm working long days and my friends are traveling and everything is stressful, and I feel alone despite not being so at all. I know that I'm not ready for a family or to stop focusing on me in this moment, but I also know it's okay to feel all the things we're told not to have. It's okay to feel lonely, despite being so grateful for your friendships. It's okay to grieve a life you want to experience but haven't yet. It's okay to want love one day and be scared you might never connect with someone emotionally, spiritually, and physically in the way that you crave. It's okay to cry about that while also being really happy being single at the moment. The silly thing about loneliness is that it's a lie. The shared experience of loneliness is connective. It's probably the one emotion you are guaranteed to have in common with every single person you meet. It's universally understandable. It is so widely felt by people of all ages with all ranges of social circles. Regardless of relationship status or loving friends, it's such a human experience to walk through life surrounded but feeling alone, disconnected, isolated. And the only reliable cure I've found is to share that loneliness with others. Simply surround yourself with people isn't enough. You have to cultivate connection, to unwrap its slightly embarrassed sadness and say, hey, I'm not doing so well. To share that even if you do in fact talk to other humans throughout the day, you don't feel connected to anyone right now. To share that loneliness and let the people you care about connect to it too. To find that even in the simple emotion of feeling alone, you're not the only one feeling that way.